At the dawn of the 2020s, the legal cannabis industry was booming with promise. Entrepreneurs touted marijuana as the new green gold, and investors around the globe were eager to cash in on the frenzy. In this climate of optimism, a new platform called JuicyFields emerged. It presented itself as a revolutionary, crowd-growing service, an online investment platform where ordinary people could fund the cultivation of medicinal cannabis plants and share in the lucrative harvest profits. To a world hungry for high returns in a trendy sector, JuicyFields' offer sounded like a dream come true. Investors, dubbed e-growers by the company, were told they could become part of the cannabis boom without ever touching a plant. All it took was a minimum of 50 euros, and JuicyFields promised to handle the rest. From the very start, JuicyFields promoted eye-popping returns. Marketing materials boasted that after roughly a 3-month growing cycle, investors could reap up to 66% profit on their stake, an astonishing rate that would equate to well over 100% annual return. Depending on the strain of cannabis, the platform advertised profits between 70% and 168% per year, far beyond any conventional investment. The message was clear and enticing. This is where the real money is made. In one memorable display, JuicyFields parked 2 gleaming Lamborghinis emblazoned with its logo outside a cannabis conference in Barcelona, a flashy signal to potential investors that cannabis riches awaited inside. The company sponsored festivals, put on extravagant booths at trade fairs, and splashed its name across social media. JuicyFields cultivated an image of success and credibility, persuading people that the cannabis investment dream was within reach. Behind the glossy marketing, JuicyFields crafted a narrative that seemed plausible in this new industry. Cannabis was a legitimate burgeoning market, used medically in many countries, and increasingly legal recreationally in places like Canada and US states. The notion of funding licensed cannabis farms and sharing the profits had an air of legitimacy. JuicyFields claimed to partner with real growers around the world, and even let investors watch their plants grow via live webcams on the website. As the COVID-19 pandemic forced people indoors in 2020, JuicyFields' fully online model looked even more attractive. Stuck at home, tens of thousands of people across Europe, Latin America, Africa, and Asia stumbled upon this platform offering easy money from cannabis. By simply creating an online account and funding a few virtual plants, they could supposedly earn a steady passive income. It was a compelling pitch, combining the hype of a hot industry with the allure of quick profits, and it spread like wildfire. JuicyFields launched ambitiously in early 2020 under the official name Juicy Holdings B.V., headquartered in Berlin, Germany. On April 1st, 2020, ironically April Fool's Day, the investment platform went live, coinciding perfectly with pandemic lockdowns across Europe. As economies faltered and people searched online for extra income, JuicyFields offered a seemingly ideal opportunity. Through an easy-to-use website, JuicyFields.io, investors worldwide could purchase virtual cannabis plants in a digital greenhouse. After roughly 100 days, the supposed time needed for cultivation, harvesting, and sales, investors would receive returns significantly higher than their initial stake, creating a gamified, highly attractive investment scheme. Initially, JuicyFields appeared reliable. Early investors received their promised payouts promptly via bank transfer or cryptocurrency, proudly sharing screenshots in online forums and Telegram groups. The positive experiences fueled enthusiastic word-of-mouth marketing, which JuicyFields actively encouraged. Secretly, the platform operated like a classic Ponzi scheme, using new investors' funds to pay earlier participants. A lucrative referral system provided additional bonuses or commissions for recruiting new investors, accelerating growth. By late 2020 into 2021, this combination of positive testimonials, influencer partnerships, and social media buzz propelled JuicyFields' user base to exponential heights. JuicyFields strategically shifted its headquarters multiple times, from Germany to the Netherlands, then Switzerland, all within about a year, complicating regulatory oversight. The company also created entities in Portugal and maintained a subsidiary Juicy Grow GmbH in Berlin, constructing an intricate corporate maze that obscured scrutiny. Publicly, JuicyFields portrayed itself as a legitimate global cannabis business, boasting partnerships with licensed producers and even planning an institutional fund linked to a notable Berlin financial firm. Investors found reassurance in JuicyFields' apparent legitimacy: German bank accounts, purported medical marijuana permits, and sophisticated branding. In reality, however, the company was quietly orchestrating what would soon become one of the cannabis industry's largest ever frauds. By 2021, JuicyFields was rapidly expanding, drawing investors worldwide and claiming over 500,000 registered users by mid-2022. The company promoted itself aggressively, making prominent appearances at major cannabis expos in cities like Barcelona, Berlin, and Warsaw. At Spain's Cannabis Fair, JuicyFields marketers famously showcased luxury sports cars branded with the company logo to project success. In Poland, they sponsored festival zones and displayed eye-catching cannabis-filled glass containers. Slick marketing materials, branded merchandise, and charismatic promoters consistently reinforced the narrative of JuicyFields as a thriving global enterprise. Equally aggressive online, heavily investing in ads, influencer marketing, and extensive Telegram communities segmented by language and region. Moderators regularly shared updates on harvests, answered questions, and users enthusiastically posted payouts and referral links. Its social media showcased polished images of cannabis farms and satisfied growers, further obscuring the reality. In truth, much was orchestrated deception. Journalists later uncovered that JuicyFields had paid legitimate cannabis farms in South America to install webcams and branded banners, creating a false sense of authenticity for investors watching remotely. The company even organized tours of genuine cannabis greenhouses to further boost credibility. Every possible tactic was employed to convincingly portray the company as genuinely cultivating vast quantities of medical marijuana for its global investors. It strategically exploited investors' fear of missing out on the booming cannabis market. Often portrayed as a modern gold rush, the platform promoted itself as an effortless gateway, allowing anyone, even those lacking financial or agricultural expertise, to profit through simple online crowd growing. Testimonials flooded social media, showcasing small investors rapidly turning modest sums into substantial returns. Tragically, many were so convinced by these consistent profits, they invested life savings or took loans to maximize their stakes. In Spain alone, around 28,000 investors joined, some investing up to the maximum permitted 180,000 euros each. JuicyFields attracted a wide range of participants, from wealthy individuals to middle-class families, uniting them in a shared dream of quickly profiting from cannabis. By early 2022, JuicyFields had amassed enormous sums from investors. Later investigations revealed approximately 645 million euros had been collected from about 186,000 active investors in 35 countries. Unofficial estimates, analyzing cryptocurrency wallet transactions, suggested the figure could exceed 5 billion euros. At its peak, JuicyFields seemed unstoppable, continuously announcing new partnerships and expansions to amplify investor excitement. Despite the hype, a few cautious voices raised alarms, but their warnings went largely unheard amid the enthusiastic frenzy, setting the stage for the inevitable collapse. As JuicyFields thrived, troubling signs emerged in early 2022. Experienced observers questioned how the platform could legally promise such consistent, outsized returns, often up to 50% in 3 months. Skeptics highlighted the company's suspicious lack of transparency, noting JuicyFields offered minimal detail about actual cannabis cultivation or profit generation methods. When journalists pressed JuicyFields for explanations in March 2022, the spokesperson vaguely responded that investors just aren't used to making good profits, deliberately sidestepping critical questions about the business model. These red flags hinted at deeper issues, though many investors remained oblivious until it was too late. In early 2022, European regulators raised concrete alarms about JuicyFields. Germany's financial regulator, BaFin, publicly highlighted inconsistencies in March, suspecting JuicyFields of illegally offering investments without required authorizations or a prospectus. Earlier in January, Spain's financial regulator, CNMV, had already flagged JuicyFields as unauthorized to provide investment services, escalating this to a formal public warning by May. By June, BaFin went further, officially banning JuicyFields from marketing cannabis investments in Germany, citing violations of securities laws. This regulatory crackdown specifically targeted JuicyFields' activities in Germany, one of its key markets. Despite regulatory actions, the company evaded immediate consequences by shifting its headquarters from Berlin to Amsterdam, placing it beyond BaFin's jurisdiction. Even after Germany's June 2022 ban, it boldly continued accepting investments from German residents. Journalists from Deutsche Welle confirmed that they could still invest from Germany post-ban, highlighting the platform's blatant disregard for regulations. This defiance highlighted a broader issue. National authorities struggled to enforce cross-border schemes swiftly. Dutch prosecutors notably chose not to pursue a criminal case in 2022, citing insufficient national public interest, unintentionally allowing the company to persist and ensnare more investors. By mid-2022, it was quietly unraveling behind the scenes. Internal tensions and rumors of leadership disputes surfaced, with reports of employees facing unpaid wages. Investors noticed strange communication delays, yet JuicyFields maintained a confident facade. Even in early July, the company emailed upbeat announcements, like a new €5 million investment into South African cannabis plantations. On the surface, it appeared stable, but investors were unknowingly on the brink of disaster, mere days away from collapse. Desperate investors initially hoped JuicyFields might somehow return. Surprisingly, later in 2022, the website resurfaced with fresh content hinting at a JuicyFields 2.0. A bizarre video featured anonymous figures wearing Guy Fawkes masks, claiming a relaunch was underway and urging patience. By January 2023, the site displayed new cannabis investment offers, yet original investors remained locked out, unable to access lost funds. This apparent revival seemed like a cynical ploy, potentially a phishing attempt, as users were asked for sensitive personal data to claim refunds. Thankfully, most recognized the warning signs, avoiding a second round of deception. However, the audacity of this maneuver highlighted just how far perpetrators, or copycats, were willing to go. For most JuicyFields investors, July 2022 abruptly ended their dreams. Those who had spent months watching their virtual cannabis plants grow now faced error messages and empty accounts. An estimated 640 to 700 million euros vanished, wiping out life savings and leaving countless individuals devastated. One Spanish investor shared his shock, stating, "My friends and I lost 50,000 euros. Similar heartbreaking stories emerge globally. Families financially ruined, retirements destroyed, and dreams shattered. JuicyFields, marketed as the largest ever cannabis investment platform, ultimately became the industry's largest ever fraud. After JuicyFields collapsed, attention turned to those behind the scam. Alan Glantz, the American founder and ex-CEO, resurfaced to deny any role, claiming he was just a figurehead used by others, a defense many viewed with suspicion. After his exit, South African businessman Willem van der Merwe took over as CEO in May 2022. He too denied knowledge of wrongdoing, but leaked documents showed he received millions from the scheme, transferring large sums to personal accounts. By late 2022, he had fled to Switzerland and was under serious legal scrutiny. JuicyFields also featured ties to the German-Swiss aristocracy, notably Count Stefan von Luxemburg and his father, Count Friedrich. Stefan was publicly listed as president of JuicyFields AG in press releases, lending the venture prestige. The von Luxemburgs were linked to a Berlin finance firm, briefly sharing JuicyFields' address, which later denied involvement. Despite this, suspicions grew that Count Stefan played a major role, possibly as a key figure behind the fraud. Mounting evidence pointed to Russian organized crime as the true force behind JuicyFields. Investigations tied several Russian nationals, including known fraudster Sergei Berezin, to the platform. Berezin, operating under aliases, allegedly used shell companies and crypto to launder funds, paying early investors while diverting millions into hidden European accounts. Former CEO Alan Glancy and multiple European authorities corroborated these claims. Through late 2022 and 2023, as victims mobilized online seeking justice, the saga took darker turns. Reports surfaced of internal conflicts among the scammers. In one chilling incident in late 2023, former executive Count Stefan von Luxemburg's luxury car was set on fire and vandalized with the ominous message, "From Russia with love," widely seen as a threat from disgruntled former partners. This disturbing act underscored serious organized crime involvement behind the scenes. Fearful of reprisals, former employees and associates went into hiding. None of the top executives surfaced publicly after July 2022, leaving a trail of rumors, threats, and unresolved questions about companies' true masterminds. Justice was slow after the collapse. Victims filed complaints worldwide, but early investigations were scattered. German prosecutors fined its Dutch entity €1 million, while civil suits grew. One Swedish lawyer estimated losses over €1 billion. Spanish firms traced crypto trails for over 1,000 clients. Despite these efforts, the ringleaders stayed hidden. A turning point came in April 2024 with Operation Stoner. 400 officers across 11 countries conducted raids and arrested 9 suspects, including a major figure in London. The crackdown highlighted the global scale, with victims in 35+ nations. Though authorities initially withheld identities, investigative reports and leaks soon revealed crucial names. Among those reportedly arrested were Willem van der Merwe, the former South African CEO, detained by Swiss police, and 2 German nationals identified as Count Stefan von Luxemburg and a presumed relative, both linked closely to van der Merwe. Most significantly, Russian mastermind Sergei Berezin was captured in the Dominican Republic, later extradited to Spain in August 2024 to face charges including aggravated fraud, money laundering, and criminal conspiracy. Europol praised the operation, highlighting meticulous digital investigations that enabled this coordinated international takedown, finally putting the core figures within legal reach. During the raids, authorities uncovered extravagant evidence of JuicyFields operations, including luxury vehicles, lavish hotel bills, and promotional music video scripts, proof of how investor funds were brazenly spent to attract more victims. Police even searched a lavish 19th century palace in rural Poland connected to a key suspect, highlighting the fraudster's opulent lifestyle. By late 2024, prosecutors across Germany, Spain, and other countries were actively preparing charges and trials against the scam's masterminds. 2 years after JuicyFields collapsed, justice was finally closing in, with trials for the ringleaders set to begin, marking a crucial step toward accountability. The collapse caused immense damage, €645 million in losses, affecting around 186,000 investors. Most victims were regular people, teachers, retirees, young workers. Many lost life savings, facing bankruptcies and deep emotional trauma. While law firms still seek restitution, most victims are unlikely to recover their funds. The scam also exposed major regulatory failures. Early warnings from Spain and Germany in 2022 were ignored, allowing it to shift jurisdictions and avoid scrutiny. A lack of international coordination delayed meaningful action. Dutch authorities in particular were criticized for dismissing the case until public outcry and media attention forced their hand. For the cannabis industry, it serves as both a cautionary tale and a significant setback. The scam exploited excitement surrounding a rapidly expanding market, preying on investors who lacked proper information. Cannabis consultant Charlotte Boyer emphasized Europe's strong demand for cannabis investments coupled with inadequate investor knowledge, making many vulnerable to deceptive schemes. Unlike publicly traded cannabis companies, which face strict regulations, JuicyFields operated in a regulatory gray zone, selling unregistered investments under the guise of cannabis plants. This saga underscored the critical importance of due diligence and skepticism. Investors must verify licenses, seek independent sources, and avoid platforms promising consistently high returns or relying heavily on social media-driven referrals. As of 2025, the JuicyFields saga continues unfolding in courtrooms, but its narrative is essentially complete. A cautionary tale shaped by the cannabis boom, pandemic-driven online investing, weak cross-border oversight, and human vulnerability to greed. At its height, JuicyFields promised revolutionary cannabis investment. Instead, it delivered devastating losses. Thousands experienced firsthand the risks hidden within the green rush, while its masterminds now face justice. Ultimately, JuicyFields' collapse serves as a vivid warning that flashy marketing in emerging industries can mask serious fraud. Its legacy will be a more cautious investor community and strengthened regulatory measures to guard against future scams. If you found this story insightful, please like, share, and subscribe to help spread awareness and protect others from similar schemes. Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll catch you in the next deep dive.